So in this video, we're going to do more practice and we're just going to graph lines. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to graph all the lines that you see here. So this video specifically continues extra practice exercises that accompany a review video on the same topic. So if you want to see the review video, check the description for a link. And by the way, you can get a free PDF of those problems that I just showed you along with an answer key. You just have to go to divideandconquermath.com and go to the review section. Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump right into all of these. So for this first one, so this one is in slope-intercept form. And so we really want to just identify then what the y-intercept is. So my y-intercept is the freestanding number, so that would be this -2. So boom, I go onto the y-axis, here's 0, I go down 1, 2. And then my slope is whatever is attached to the x. So my slope is 3. Now, I want to just remember in the back of my head, this is really 3 over 1. So 3 is going to be my rise and 1 is going to be my run. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. There's my run, or sorry, there's my rise. And then I turn to the right because you always turn to the right. Here's your run. Connect, and we're good to go. Okay, so B is the same thing. So I have -3 force x plus 2. So 2 is going to be my y-intercept. So I'm going to go onto the y-axis and mark 2. And then for my slope, so my slope is this -3 over 4. Now, when it's negative, that means that you go down. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and then my run is 4. So I always turn right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my other point. Connect them, and there's our line. Okay, so for the next one, I have y equals 5. So for y equals 5, so what this is saying is that y is always 5. That's what this means, right? So it doesn't matter what the x coordinate is, the y coordinate will always be 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my y equals 5. So that means at 0, y will equal 5. So at x equals 0, y will equal 5. At x equals 1, y will equal 5. At x equals 2, y will equal 5. So this is just a horizontal line. But I bring up this part here because sometimes people get a little confused as to what y equals 5 means. They don't remember whether it's a horizontal or vertical line. And so this is the way that you can remember that. And so we have a similar thing then for x equals 3. So for x equals 3, so if I come over to the x-axis, so here's where x will equal 3. And otherwise this is going to be x is always 3. And so here's another one, right? So here's another place where x would equal 3. Here's another place where x would equal 3. So this is going to be a vertical line. Okay, so next we have 3x minus 6y equals 12. Now there's a couple ways on how you can do this. I think the most popular way though is, so this is an equation in standard form. This is something I talked about at length in the review video. Very often what I see is that people will just solve for y. So why not? Let's go ahead and solve for y. So I'm going to take my 3x minus 6y equals 12, and I'm going to start by subtracting off the 3x. So I have -6y equals -3x plus 12. And then I will divide every single part of this by -6 to get that y equals 1/2 x minus 2. And so now that's an equation in slope-intercept form. You could also just go and find points of this. You could find, say, the x and y intercept. That would also totally work. But this just tends to be what I noticed most people do. So I wanted to do what I noticed most people just kind of gravitate towards. So here's my -2 y-intercept. I'm going to go up 1 and over 2. There we go. So I've got the same thing here for f then. And so if you're playing along at home here, so remember, I'm a big fan of you actually trying these on your own. I think you'll get more out of this if you try these on your own. So I'd highly recommend you try solving for y and graphing the whole thing. But otherwise, I'm just going to jump right into this. So I'm going to have, let's see, let me do the other color. Let's do 2x plus 3y equals -4. Subtract off the 2x to get 3y equals negative 2x minus 4. And so this one is going to be a little trickier. So this is negative 2/3 x minus 4/3. Okay, now I actually talked about a very similar problem to this in the other video. So slopes, in general, you want to keep slopes in a fractional form. But for y-intercepts, so negative 4/3, if you're not sure what this point is, you can convert this to a decimal. So it could be, maybe, you know, tomato, tomato, whatever your preference is. But I think for a lot of people, the point negative 1.3, this makes more sense than negative 4/3. So just choose the version of the equation that's easier for you. But again, I don't convert the slope because the slope in fractional form is easier to count out. So now I have to estimate where my y-intercept is. So if I come down here, so I'm just going to make kind of this rough estimate. So somewhere around here, not quite in the middle, a little closer to negative 1, here would be my y-intercept. And now from here, I need to count down 2 and over 3. And I want to just make sure that when I'm counting down 2, so I'm kind of maintaining where that decimal spot is. So here's down 1, 2, and then over 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oops, and now let's go to y equals negative 1. So again, very similar to the previous ones that we were talking about. So there's my y equals negative 1. Same idea, right? Y is always going to be equal to negative 1. Well, meanwhile, for x equals 3, so here's where x equals 3, so x will always equal 3, so there's my x equals 3 line. Okay, so I've got two more here then. So I've got y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. So in this case, I'm going to go up to the y-intercept of 3, go down 1 over 2. Connect the dots, and we're all good. And for this last one, so now I've got 3x minus 6y equals 4. So once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to solve for y. So subtract off that. So I have negative 6y equals negative 3x plus 4. Divide everything by negative 6. And I get y equals 1/2 x minus 2/3. Which again, that might just be easier to write as a decimal. Totally up to you. Maybe you can visualize where 2/3 is. It's just totally a matter of preference. For some reason in my brain, negative 2/3 makes more sense. Like when I look at this, but like larger improper fractions do not. So that's just how my brain works. So I just want to make sure I bring up all the options. So there's negative 2/3, and then I'm going to go up 1 and over 2. So there's kind of a good estimate. Connect the dots, and we're good to go. Okay, so by the way, my review series has many other topics in it. So each topic includes a refresher video and then practice problems like what we're doing here. And all my practice problems always include an answer key with the worked out solution like what you're watching. So if you are interested in checking out more of those materials, you can just go to divideandconquermath.com. Everything's free. Just go to the review section. And if you found this helpful, consider hitting that like button, leaving me a comment, or hitting the subscribe button. And otherwise, I'll talk to you guys in another video. I have lots more videos of different practice problems, so I'll talk to you later. Bye!